The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. And hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Brought to you by our good friends, top right-hand corner of the screen right there, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. Make sure to go and check them out. If you are in the need for a new or maybe a used vehicle or any kind of service, they have a great service department as well. Greenwood Chevrolet will take care of you absolutely. They've taken care of YSN. They've been a great sponsor for us and for Running Point since the start of this show. And we want to thank them for believing in us throughout the years. And we thank them every day with their sponsorship. We also try to go the extra mile for you the same way they do. And the way we do that is our coaches' corners and our player profiles that we feature on this show. Going to continue that trend today. We have a player profile to feature today with Boardman senior setter Ava Commons. It was a great interview, great conversation with the senior who plans on continuing her volleyball career after high school as well. 4.0 GPA, a lot of fun stuff to talk about. That'll be featured a little bit later on in the show as we dab into Boardman volleyball. But first and foremost, I want to dive into the scoreboard on ysnlive.com and recap last night's action. Let's see what went on the network and in the family last night. The YSN scoreboard is a great and easy tool for our YSN fans, whether you're at one of the games or watching one of our broadcasts. Either way, you don't want to look away from the action for too long. And the YSN scoreboard is a great and fast way to get live updated scores on your favorite sports. Whether it be your best friend or a heated rival, YSN is definitely the place to go to see what's going on. The YSN scoreboard can be found at ysnlive.com/scores, and it is proudly presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs. Let's dive into yesterday, see what went on in volleyball to start. And Pymatuning Valley goes on the road. They might have been the quote-unquote underdogs in this matchup, especially traveling to Grand Valley, but man, the Lakers made a big statement as they sweep the Mustangs in straight sets 3-0, a tough one for Grand Valley to handle, but they'll have to bounce back from that in a hurry. St. John, no problems with Bristol as they welcome in the Panthers and win in straight sets there. Jefferson continues to have a great season as they beat Cornerstone Christian in 4 sets, 3-1. We'll talk a little bit more about this game when the scoreboard's over because I was there, but we will just hit the score for you as Columbiana went to Cardinal Mooney and beat the Cardinals 3-1 in 4 sets. Girard with an absolute statement, 3-0 as they go to Middle Ridge and beat the Rams in pretty decisive fashion, not just a sweep, but these sets were all Girard from the start. So a tough night for the Rams, who are a very talented volleyball team. But Girard, they had another opportunity to go outside the NE8 and make a statement. They had that opportunity last week with Crestview. They missed it. They didn't play well. They got beat by Crestview. I think they wanted to make sure that this week, okay, we're playing a talented team outside of the NE8. Let's make sure that we have our I's and T's dotted, and they absolutely did that. They win this game extremely motivated and got the win in straight sets. Lakeview, who is right now on pace with Girard in the NE8, They went on the road as well for a test outside of the conference as they went to Boardman, won their match in 4 sets. Niles gets their second win of the year as they go to East and get the 3-2 win in 5 sets. East Palestine, they are able to sweep Sebring. He had two hitters with double-digit kills in that one, including a double-double for Ellie Berger for the Bulldogs. Southern Local, they go to Toronto. They win 3-2, a 5-set win for the Indians. So that's 2 5-set wins for Southern Local on the week. They were able to beat Lisbon earlier this week in 5 sets as well. Warren Harding is able to beat Cheney 3-0 in straight sets. We have Wyndham. They were able to beat Lordstown in straight sets. Orange Falls to Beechwood 3-0. We have Badger. They went to Maplewood. They get the win 3-2. Hubbard, they're able to escape Jackson Milton with a 5-set victory 3-2 there. That was a heck of a game between the Blue Jays and the Eagles. Remember yesterday when we went over that scoreboard, I said this is a sneaky game. I know everyone had eyes on Girard and Lakeview both going out of conference. There were eyes on Mooney and Columbiana, both 6-win teams coming into that game. But I said, watch out for Hubbard and Jackson Milton. They're both having really good under the radar seasons. And it was a really good match. Hubbard gets the win 3-2 in 5. We did not get a score reported, unfortunately, from Latonia. So if you do have that score, please let us know. We would love to update the scoreboard and see what happened with the Lions and the Bears. Like I said, we'll go back up. We'll talk about some of these games in length when we got the games that we got stats for. But we'll go over the scores first. Boys soccer, we have Champion. They were able to beat Liberty 6-0, a big win for the Flashes to bounce back from their tough game earlier this week. Campbell gets the tie with LeBray, 1-1. Waterloo falls to Middle Ridge, 4-1. Middle Ridge protecting their home field nicely. Crestview and Jackson Milton, they're doing battle, and Jackson Milton gets the narrow 1-0 win over the Rebels. And then Newton Falls, they're able to beat Southeast 1-0. So a lot of really tight games. You had a 1-1 tie. You had a 1-0 win for Jackson Milton and a 1-0 win for Newton Falls. So a lot of tight games on the boys soccer side last night. On the girls side, Louisville, they shut out Dover 4-0, the final score there. Canfield shuts out Ursuline 7-0, your final in that one. West Branch, they go on the road inside the EBC. They win at Minerva by the final score of 2-0. Salem also in the EBC and on the road. They were able to not able to do much against the Lions. I saw that 6-0 for a second. 6-1, Alliance gets the win over Salem. Struthers and Girard, a good one inside the NE8. Girard with a 1-0 victory. Hubbard and Lakeview playing each other. Lakeview gets the 3-0 shutout of the Eagles. Now, this one was going to be a good one. We knew it. Poland and Hubbard, but Poland's offense that has been playing so well this year, just a little bit too much for Niles. 5-3, they get the win. But Niles scoring more than most do. Again, against that Poland defense. And then Hoban, they fall to Hathaway Brown on the road, 2-1. So as I said, we're going to scroll back up to volleyball, talk about some of these matches that we were able to get stats reported in from the coaching staffs for some of these games. I want to start off by talking about the game I was at and broadcasted, the game I can speak the most educatedly about because I witnessed it firsthand. And that is Cardinal Mooney hosting Columbiana. This was a game that both teams, I think, were coming in pretty evenly matched. The Clippers were undefeated. Mooney was a one-loss team. And the Clippers, with a couple of straight wins in the EOAC one to make sure they can still go outside the conference and get solid wins against good teams. And They came in, and in the first set, Colombiana looked, I think, a little bit shaky. A couple of unforced errors here and there. Mooney was really hitting well. The front row for Cardinal Mooney was doing a wonderful job getting blocks, getting hands on the ball. So Mooney won the first set, 25-22. And from that first set, you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a pretty good match. But you also, when I was broadcasting it, you had the sense that maybe Colombian, if they clean things up a little bit after that first set, maybe they could just take it that next step and be, the better team that night. And boy, did they ever. I think from set 2 to set 4, those 3 sets that Colombiana won in a row, there might have been, like, combined in the 3 sets, maybe 3 attack errors. When there were more than that in the first set alone. So they really cleaned up their offense. They didn't hurt themselves as much in the next 3 sets. I think the big storyline of this one, though, not only was Colombiana clean, the serve receive and the service pressure put on by Colombiana was the difference. They were serve receiving really well. They were getting in system a lot off of really tough serves from Mooney. And then on the flip side, their serves, Colombiana, they were giving a lot of pressure to Mooney's defense. They could not get into system a lot. And they proved that when they did, Mooney is a force. I mean, when they got into system, Caitlin Radinsky and her connection with Jada Lane out of the middle was really impressive. She can go to Brinkley Barrett to the outside. If Sam Martuno's in the outside, she can go to her, but she's in the back row. They can also set her there too. So Mooney has a lot of offensive options, but that only works if you're in system, right? If you're not in system, if you're off target and your setter has to run to get the ball, then it becomes a lot easier to defend because usually there's only one place you can go with that ball. It kind of takes away the rest of the offense of threat if you're not in system. And on the serve, Mooney really struggled all night trying to get into system. They had Colombiana had 13 team aces on the day, and a lot of more serves that maybe not weren't aces, but definitely won the point, or definitely at least caused Mooney to be way out of system. So when you stack that up, it was a lot. The service for Colombiana, especially in sets 2 through 4, was just it was too much. It was too much for Mooney. Mooney's got to work on serve receive because, like I said, when they're in system, and they get in the system on defense too. I mean, they had a lot of quality digs on swings. Like defensive wise, they're able to make those strong passes, but for some reason last night in the service, they just could not get in system, consistently, and that really hurt them. I thought they played a really good set 3 after losing set 2. They fell in set 3, 25-19. Down the stretch, Colombiana made a couple of plays, but I thought it was a pretty good set for Mooney. They played pretty well, but sets 2 and 4, they just the serve receive wasn't good enough to get them into a consistent offense. And when you're not putting any kind of pressure on Colombiana's defense, which is already really good, you're in trouble. You're going to get them in the system. And I talked about Mooney having a lot of options. Colombiana has a lot of options on offense. So if you don't get them out of system and try to, limit them to one place they can go in the point, you have a lot to defend. You have to defend Kelsey Cameron. You have to defend Landry Smith. You have to defend Danica Hallis. You have to defend Ellie Jackson. They will swing Ava Heinrich out of the back row, so you have to be ready for that. A lot of hitters for Colombiana. Not too often. And when you look at their stats, so they have one hitter with way more kills than all of the rest. They're usually 2 or 3 kills apart. They'll have one hitter with maybe last night, for example, Ellie Jackson had 11. They had 2 with 9, 1 with 8, and I think 1 with 6. So their hitters are not separated by, numbers. It's not like they have one hitter with 25 kills and then the rest have like 5 or 6. If I was a coach, I'd rather it, the balanced way. But there is something to be said about having that one person that can also take over a match as well if they're being set right. So I understand, no shade to the teams that do have that really powerful hitter that can get 20 kills per. But it's really, really fun when you have a balanced offense and really hard to defend for the other team. I want to go talk about Girard and Middle Ridge. This game was one that I think everybody in the volleyball world thought was going to be um, competitive. It should be talent wise. It definitely looked like it was competitive. But Girard had other plans. They came into this game, they were fired up. Listen to these set scores: 25-5, 25-13, 25-17. Um, they just rolled. This is a Middle Ridge team that had a couple of tough luck 5-set losses to start the season. Then they won 3 in a row. They were coming in hot. They have a lot of talent, like I said. Um, Girard, though, statement victory. You look at these stats for the Indians. Bailey Walters had 20 kills. Nico Cochran had 11. That's what Girard needs. They need both of those hitters to be on fire for them to be quality teams. Um, the impressive freshman setter Chloe Plant had 32 assists. You had aces from Fiona Allen with 4 and Alexis Peaton with 3. Um, Cara Bell and Ava Serrano led with digs. Bell had 9. Serrano had 7. And then you had Peden with 3 blocks and Brooke Perry with 1. The dig numbers are low, which tells me that Middle Ridge struggled with getting offense. Because usually if you go into a game against Ava Hewlett and you win, you're going to get a lot of digs because she's going to hammer the ball over the net. But it was apparent in just the stats, not even having to watch the game. I obviously wasn't there live. Said that word again, our counter. I restarted it yesterday, so our counter is now at 6 for 2 days of me saying that word. We will when you look at these stats, and I wasn't there to watch it personally, but you can just tell from the numbers that Middle Ridge had a lot of trouble getting offense on their side of the floor. Probably out of system a ton. Probably not a lot of attacks, because when your leading defense has 8 digs, you don't even get someone in the double digits. It's not usually not because, especially if you win like you did. So if you win like you did and you have 8 digs, that pretty much tells you that you didn't have to use your defense too much. And that's just the way it went for Girard. And wow, what a win for the Indians. Now we go into Lakeview Boardman. We got stats from both teams for this one. The set scores for this: Lakeview won the first set 25-12, setting the tone. I mean, it's hard to go into Boardman and win a set like that. The rest of the match was very competitive. Boardman bounced back one set 2, 25-23. Lakeview won set 3, 25-19, and then won set 5, 25-23. So, like Boardman has done all season long, they bounced back from adversity. That first set was definitely not one they wanted to remember, but the next 3 were very competitive. Mallory Mylock, who just broke the record on Tuesday for the career assist record at Lakeview, added on to that record with 47 assists on her night. Reagan Price with 21 kills, Molly Stewart with 14. You had Mallory Mylock also with 8 aces. That was a big number. That's a big number to put on Boardman. Lakeview is a very good serving team. They're very aggressive servers. And when they're rolling and they're getting their aces, those are almost free points. They don't have to work too hard. They don't have to, run an offense. So one of the keys to beating Lakeview, if you're going to do it, you better take away that service pressure. You better be able to get in the system off their serve and maybe make them press a little bit. We saw them against Fitch, the one game they lost this year. I believe, I don't know what Coach Guthrie thinks about it, but I believe they backed off of the aggressiveness a little bit serving because their aggressive serves were getting dug, were getting up, were getting in system. And then because of that, we saw, a handful of serves towards the middle of that match just missed the mark because I think they were trying to press because, oh my gosh, my good serve isn't getting aces, so I really got to hammer it, and then that's when you hit balls out. That's when you hit balls in the net. So then I think that they over adjusted to that, and they lost some aggressiveness on the serve towards the end of that match, especially set 5. I was there for that game, so that's what I saw. But 8 aces for Mallory Mylock, which means a lot of aces for the team. That's too much if you're playing Lakeview. You had Reagan Price with 2 blocks on the dig category. Molly Stewart led with 19. Addison Allen had 16 for the Bulldogs. I want to look at Boardman's stats too because they played an excellent game against Lakeview, especially after losing the first set the way they did. Ava Commons had 28 assists, 9 digs, 3 blocks, 4 aces. That's the player we're going to hear from a little bit later on in the show. So she had a nice night. Maya Flores, who has been putting together a great season so far, had a double-double with 20 kills, 10 digs, 2 blocks, 2 aces. Ava Gaps, 3 kills, 5 blocks. Lily Ysn had 3 kills and 4 blocks. That's a lot of blocks for this team. You look at it, Flores had 2, Gaps had 5, Ysn had 4. So that alone is 11 blocks. It is hard to block Lakeview, especially with their middle presence. So impressive for the block numbers for Boardman. I was really pleasantly surprised to see that. They're going to need that tonight. We'll talk about tonight's matchup with Boardman in a little bit towards the end of the show, but they're going to need their blocks to be good tonight. Sadie Satterfield, the libero for Boardman, led them in digs with 16. She also had 2 aces, 2 assists. Nina Tran had 6 digs for the Spartans as well. So those are your stats for that game. And that's your one last look at the scoreboard. We got an update from Heartland Christian. They were able to beat Latonia 3-0, so they get the sweep in that one. So we did get the score update. Thank you to Mike Schweinhart for hunting that down during the show. We ask and we receive here on Running Point. One last look at the scoreboard there for you on boys soccer and girls soccer before we take a break here on Running Point. When we come back, we are going to have the featured player profile of the day. It'll be Ava Commons, the senior setter from Boardman. She will be featured on today's episode of Running Point as a player profile. I'm going to check the comments real quick. I don't know what Ty's going for with purple and black circles. Huh. Ty, you have to use your words, buddy. I don't know your secret coded language. We will take a break, and when we come back, we will see you. We will have more on Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Don't go anywhere.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com. Yes, Ty, during the commercial break, I put together your your message. My vision, they come up as little tiny emojis. So I was like, what in the world is he going for? Purple and black. Yeah, I get it. Go Ravens. Have some backbone and say go Ravens. All right, Ty. Come on. Chiefs Kingdom. Here we go. 3-peat. That's all I'm going to say. It's time. We're running it back again. It's our world. We're living in it. All right, let's go. We're going to go off of that, and we will go into our player profile featured today. We're going to go into Boardman for the volleyball program. We just talked about their tough loss to Lakeview last night, but that doesn't stop them from having a really good senior-led team, especially when talking about this next player, in Ava Commons, who I think is one of the best setters in the whole area. Watching her play, one of her best attributes, I think, as a setter is the fact that she has no lacks in defense at all. She gets plenty of digs. I would bet, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I haven't dove into the area's stats yet, but she would probably be among the area's leaders when you look at digs for a setter. Just ridiculous how she's able to help out the defense in that way. It does, stink for an offense when your center has to get a dig, because then someone else has to step up and have that second touch. But Ava's getting balls that you just don't get, and I've seen her go to knees to get the set. Whatever it takes to get a good set on the ball, she's there to do it. And I've always been very impressed by her setting ability. So had a pleasure to talk with her and break down her senior season. And talk with her about the 4.0 GPA that she also carries in the classroom. So without further ado, here is the player profile featured today, Boardman Senior Center, Ava Commons. Anthony Hartwig here with another Boardman volleyball player profile. Today, we are joined by senior setter, Ava Commons. Ava, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're a senior. You're going into your senior season. So our first question for all of our seniors, really, what's it been like going into your last year and dealing with all the emotions that can bring?
So like my senior year, I know I wanted it to be my best season because it's my last one. And so I just know that every practice I give it my all, every game I give it my all, so that I'm giving my team my all and I could be the best I could be for my senior year.
So you get the chance to be a setter and run this offense, and you get the chance to really, I think, build a relationship with all the hitters and try to build the strong bond with them. What's that been like over the years to play that role for this team?
I love it. I love being able to run the offense and tell everyone what the plays we're running, and just be able to have a connection with all the hitters and know that I trust them and they can trust me.
I talk to setters a lot, and I think it takes a special mentality to be able to have that much pressure on you night in, night out. Do you ever kind of think about it, or do you just kind of go out there and just let everything go?
I definitely think about it a little bit. Sometimes I get in my head and what should I do here? But then I just let it all go and then just do what I know how to do.
This year, a couple of new hitters can join. I mean, you lost a good senior class last season. So what was it like to kind of come into the summer and really work with these hitters that are stepping into much larger roles this year and try to build that rhythm that we talked about earlier with these new hitters this year?
Definitely a lot of practice with getting to know what kind of sets they want, what kind of what height, what speed, everything, because basically almost everybody was new. So it definitely took a lot of practice and a lot of reps just to get down the connection between me and the hitters.
Talk to me about your start in volleyball, when you started to play it, when you started to fall in love with it too.
When I remember I was in 6th grade and my cousin had a volleyball game and I watched, and I told myself that I wanted to play, and then I started playing in 7th grade, and ever since then I've loved playing my whole life.
Was there something that you saw when you were watching it that clicked with you that said, this is the sport that I really want to play?
It just the whole aspect of it, the competitiveness, everything about it. I don't know. I just really loved it, and I was I want to play that, and I've just been playing ever since.
It's also the only sport you play, so you've really dove into volleyball. When was it? When did it shift from something that you were just wanting to do to something that you love so much that you spend so much time doing?
I want to say during when I was in 7th grade, my first season ever playing, I really was I love this sport and I want to play for as long as I can and for as much as I can. And I think that's when I realized that this is what I want to do.
One of the things that's fun to watch as high schoolers go from freshman to senior year is the development of their confidence in themselves. Talk about how much your confidence has grown over your high school career.
So much, I think. I think when I was a freshman, I was scared. But now that I'm a senior, my confidence is just like boosted tremendously.
We talk a lot about the coaches that you get, and you have a great coaching staff. With even assistants that have been varsity head coaches before as well. What have they done for you? What have they helped you grow in as a volleyball player and as a person?
They've really pushed me to be my best. I think every practice they push me, they work with me, and they make sure that I'm being the best I can be, and they just push me to be the best.
We see your coach during the games and on the sidelines, so we don't get to see a lot of her. We just get to see game mode. Take us through maybe some things that you think people should know about her that don't get to come to games, or what she's like in practices and outside of game time.
I think she's a wonderful person. We have the whole team. We have a close relationship with our coaches, and I think it's just helps really with on the court, but even off the court. Since we have such that close relationship, it helps with everything, I think.
Not only do you guys have a close relationship with your coaches, but watching you guys and calling your games, I can really tell that the bond is there between the teammates. What do you think is the attribute to being able to be so close with each and every one of your fellow players?
I think being close really helps us trust each other and know who's going to do what and where people are going to get the ball, and just trusting each other, I think, plays a huge part in a team dynamic.
What's your favorite team bonding exercise that you've been able to do as part of Boardman volleyball?
Probably just we go out to eat after games or practices in the summer, just being able to spend time with them.
All right, so you have had 4 years of memories that have been built with this volleyball program. I'm going to ask you a two-pronged question. Give me your favorite off the court or off the game at least memory with this team, and then give me your favorite kind of game memory, the thing that guys have gone through in one of your matches that really sticks out to you in your career.
Off the court, I think when we went to Cedar Point when I was a sophomore and we played in the team camp, and then we went to Kalahari and stayed and went to Cedar Point the next day. And then I think on the court was when I was a junior and we beat Hoover at Hoover.
When you think of all the things that you've already accomplished, what are you most proud of in yourself so far in your Boardman career?
I'm proud of how much I developed my skill and my confidence since I was a freshman, because when I was a freshman, I wasn't a setter. So I think just everything that I've done leading up to this, I'm just proud of myself for that.
What were some goals that you still wanted to accomplish going into your senior year that you wanted to make sure that you got done before you graduated?
I definitely want to reach 1,000 assists. Yeah, that's my main goal. Reach 1,000 assists for sure.
When you think of how proud you are to represent Boardman every night, you get to put on that jersey, wear Boardman across the chest. What makes you so proud to be able to do that and to be able to do that for one more year?
Just the spirit of it and the pride and everything about Boardman, just being able to represent that is really meaningful to me because I've been going here my whole life.
Let's talk about you inside the school system. You've gone through the school at Boardman for 3+ years now, going into your 4th. What have been some of your favorite things to study?
Probably maybe math. I like math. Math's my favorite. I also like my sociology class too.
I like that. Probably maybe. Probably. I think you have a love-hate relationship with math, probably a little bit.
Yeah.
You hold a 4.0 GPA, so you have, you've been able to do the work in all the classes. So what have been some classes, though, that have really given you the most trouble? The ones that you really had to buckle down to get that A and keep that 4.0?
Definitely English for sure. English is definitely my least favorite, or maybe my history classes too.
Now, there are different kinds of English assignments, and I feel like when I'm talking to athletes, some of them struggle with one part, some of them struggle with the other. So Which one's easier for you? The ones where they give you like a prompt and say write about this, or do you think the book reports and the having to do all this research and cite your sources, which ones gave you more trouble?
Definitely the book reports. I think the prompts are a little bit easier, but like the book reports to me are definitely the hardest for me to do.
There's a lot of great teachers in the Boardman school system. We've been able to know that while covering Boardman. Who have been some teachers that have impacted your journey along the way?
Miss Gerberry, my chemistry teacher for sure, and my Spanish teachers too, Miss Flood.
All right, we have to talk about your plans past high school. You're graduating, obviously, in the spring. So, what are some of your future plans that you want to accomplish after you graduate?
After I graduate, I want to go to college, and I hope to play volleyball in college too. Not sure where yet, but I want to play volleyball in college.
Well, with that being said, you're still kind of dealing with the recruiting process. Talk about how that's been going for you and what kind of things you're looking for in a volleyball program to call home.
Yeah, so been emailing some coaches just to get my name out there and see where I could go. But definitely like the academic part of a college matters to me too, because I'm very like academically driven, so that definitely matters, not just the athletics, but the academics too.
What major and career path are you trying to go for?
I'm not really sure yet. Maybe something in like architecture or math even.
When you think of places you could go, do you want to travel a little bit farther from home, or do you rather stay close to home?
I would rather like not stay super close, but not go super far. So somewhere kind of in the middle, where I can still come home on weekends and stuff like that.
You want to get out of the nest. That's understandable. So give me one thing that makes you nervous about leaving home, and then maybe one thing that makes you excited about, being on your own for the first time in college.
Well, that makes me nervous would be like that my parents aren't there 24/7 to help me with anything, and I can't just talk to them whenever I need to. But also, I'm excited because I get to experience living on my own kind of and doing my own thing and having more freedom and independence.
As a senior on this team, and someone that has had a lot of success, you're a role model. You're a role model to the underclassmen. You're a role model to the youth of Boardman that's coming up. What's that feel like to know that there are people looking at you and wanting to follow what you do and to kind of mold themselves after your game?
It feels great, but it also is a little nerve-wracking because there are people watching and like you want to be the best you could be and not like show them something that you don't want them to see, almost, I guess.
Who were those people for you when you were growing up in volleyball, the people that you looked up to and wanted to be like?
Definitely like the people on varsity when I would come and I was in like 7th grade and I'd come and watch the varsity games. I definitely looked up to them and wanted to be like them one day.
And then we know you're on the court role models now. What are your life role models? Who are the people in life that you go to when you need advice, when you need that boost on a day?
Definitely my mom or my dad and my grandma or my aunt. Those are the people that I really go to the most.
All right, Ava, what we want to do before we let you go in these player profiles, we've been talking about you the whole time. I want to give you the chance to take the limelight off yourself a little bit and shine on those people that have really supported you throughout your career and you wouldn't be where you are without.
Yeah, my mom and my dad have been there for everything. Like every game, every tournament, they've been there. They've driven me to practice. They've taken me to games, taken me everywhere. And I'm just really, really appreciative to have them in my life.
All right, Ava, we want to thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate the time and we wish you the best of luck going forward. We certainly can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Why am I? Hold on. I'm like, can you guys hear? I hope you can hear me. The camera looks like it froze. So I'm trying to fix that while we go into the scoreboard. We're going to go into preview the rest of the season. rest of the night. All right, I think we got this. All right, am I back? Let's see. Let's bring up the camera real quick. Okay, we're unfrozen. Whew. Good news. All right, we're gonna go back into the scoreboard. Just wanted to see if the camera was unfrozen. It froze during that interview. What a great interview that was, though, with Ava Commons, senior center. Like I said before, just a really good player, really good leader, and a 4.0 GPA, which would go along with all that, which is amazing in its own right. Actually, we talked to two of the volleyball seniors, and they both carry a 4.0 GPA. We'll let you hear from Nina Tran on a future episode of Running Point, but you can find her player profile on the website as well. Also, want to remind everybody, if you missed a part of that interview, and you want to see it in its entirety, make sure to go to Ysn's YouTube page. It's up there, full interview on the page there, and it's also on the website with a write-up with it. So make sure to check all that good stuff out. If you want to see that interview in its entirety, you missed it on today's show. It is definitely available in other places. Back to the scoreboard we go. We're going to preview tonight's games, see what's going on. We will click on September 5th. Excuse me. I knew that was coming. Tried to keep it away for as long as I could. All right, so here we go. A lot of volleyball today, but first, we do have a football game going on tonight. Edison hosting Southern Local, one of the very few times we get Edison to play an all-YSN matchup. So Southern Local and Edison squaring off on the football field tonight. 7 o'clock is your start time for that. Now, when you talk volleyball, we have a lot going on tonight. Tuesday and Thursdays are your main days for volleyball, where conference play is in full swing. Orange will be playing Bedford tonight at home. Mohawk hosting Laurel. We have Louisville hosting Massillon Perry. Fitch goes to Boardman. Newton Falls goes to Garrettsville Garfield. Niles goes to Struthers. Wellsville going to Lisbon. Perry traveling to Edgewood. That should be a fun one in the 440. St. John hosting Chalker. We'll have Badger hosting Grand Valley. Wyndham will go to Bloomfield. Southeast hosting Brookfield. We go to Cardinal Mooney as they play their third game in as many days. They travel to the East tonight in the Steel Valley Conference. Crestview goes to Champion. We have Fairport Harding. They're traveling to Pymatuning Valley. Girard hosting Hubbard. Hubbard off that big win over Jackson Milton last night in 5 sets. Speaking of Jackson Milton, they're trying to bounce back as they travel to Campbell. Latonia will be at Columbiana tonight. Liberty will travel to LeBray. We have Western Reserve. They're hosting Lowville tonight. McDonald will be going to Waterloo. Middle Ridge will go to Springfield. They're trying to bounce back from their night last night. This is going to be a big game for Middle Ridge, as Springfield playing really well right now. We go to the 440 as Conneaut hosts Northwestern. Poland tries to get on track in the 88 as they travel to league-leading Lakeview. East Palestine off a big win last night over Sebring. They're back in the EOAC tonight. They're hosting United. Canfield will be hosting Warren Harding as they stay in the AAC, looking to stay undefeated. Beaver Local travels to Harrison Central. And last but not least, East Liverpool goes to Indian Creek on the volleyball side. Boys soccer, plenty of action on this front as well. Orange hosting Mayfield. We have Hubbard hosting Austintown Fitch. Lordstown traveling to Pymatuning Valley. Madison going to Jefferson. Warren JFK, they'll travel to Ursuline. Heartland goes to Jackson Milton. Steubenville Central Catholic, they're traveling to East Liverpool. Middle Ridge will go to Salem tonight. We have Beaver Local hosting Poland. Newton Falls will be hosting United. Howland hosting Harvey. West Branch traveling to Boardman. Niles going to Camel. Brookfield going to Garfield. We have Columbiana hosting Bristol. And last but not least on the boys' side, Conneaut, just like their volleyball, their volleyball team's not hosting Grand Valley, but their boys soccer team is absolutely hosting Grand Valley. Girls soccer side, South Range and Columbiana getting together on the soccer pitch. We'll have Edgewood traveling to Pie Valley, Beaver Local on the road against St. Clairsville, East Liverpool also on the road against Harrison Central. We have Grand Valley going to Geneva tonight. Perry goes to Laurel. That's the Ohio Laurel, by the way. Orange going to West Geauga. Newton Falls going to Liberty tonight. Brookfield hosting LeBray. Crestview going to Springfield. Hosting Springfield, I should say. And Champion has a big MVAC matchup with Waterloo tonight in Atwater. When we look at the broadcasters that will be out tonight doing games, we'll start with the games at a glance on today, which is September 5th. We have 7 volleyball games on the network tonight. We'll have Orange coverage by their school, so their game against Bedford High will be there on the broadcast. Rob Johnson covering Louisville and their matchup with Massillon Perry. Eric Hughes will have you covered with Mohawk and Laurel. I will be in Boardman with Austintown Fitch. Matthew McConaughey will be in Struthers for their matchup with Niles. Rick Daly will be in Lisbon while they host Wellsville. And then the school for Edgewood will have you covered for Perry and Edgewood. So that one will be on the network as well. We have soccer on the network as Zach Svensson will be covering Hubbard versus Austintown Fitch. Him and Johnny Reyes will both be at the soccer field for that one. The Orange soccer game will be covered by the school as well. Girls soccer, Matt Marr going to be in South Range for their matchup with Columbiana. So those are the games that will be on the network tonight. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find those games. Click on the game you want and then scroll past the sponsors and you'll find the video window there. All you have to do after that, hit the play button. All the regular season games, every sport is free. The only time we'll ever charge is during the playoffs. So if you're ever asked to buy something when you're trying to play a game, it is not us. So make sure you're not clicking on any of the spam or the pop-ups that pop up on the screen. We've definitely got to remind people of that consistently, that regular season broadcasts, as far as we go at YSN, they're completely free to watch. You can download past live streams for $2.99, but once again, if you're paying for something that's not $2.99, not us, right? So make sure that you know what you're paying for. We've had a couple of people run into problems in the last couple of weeks with accidentally paying for stuff that wasn't us. If it's not $2.99 on the download, it's not us. It'll ask you for subscription, nothing per month, nothing like that. So make sure that you're squared up on what you want to, where you want to go, what you want to be. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today. We thank Greenwood Chevrolet for their sponsorship of this show. Like always, they go the extra mile for you. We'll try to do the same. We'll be back here tomorrow from 1 to 2. It's Football Friday. We're going to have a football player profile to be featured as well. Don't miss it. Don't miss tomorrow, 1 to 2 on Running Point.